There is something wrong with the stock market that I'm about to show you. Now, I'm a very optimistic investor, but sometimes I see things that I cannot ignore. And as traders, our job is not to predict what's going to happen, but we're supposed to act on the price when it shows. So currently, we can only see that something is wrong, but if the price keeps going up, we're supposed to buy. But either way, we should be prepared for what comes our way. The S&P 500 or the Nasdaq 100 is not equally weighted. That means if a company like Nvidia is 3 trillion, then it holds more of the indices. That means that its action, like Nvidia's action, since it's a big company, Apple's action, they're going to have a bigger effect on the stock indices. So to counter that, there is this stock index called the S&P 500 equal weight, where each company in the S&P 500 has an equal weighting in the index. Now, ideally, since the S&P is driven by these really big companies, we want to see the small companies also catch up. But this is not happening. And to show you that, I will add the RSP to compare. So the RSP is this orange line. And the S&P 500, as we can see, the price is going up. But if we look at the RSP, which just means the equally weighted index, the price is going down. So what this means is that the big companies are driving the stock market up, while the rest of the companies are lagging behind. And if we were to look in history, where has this happened again? And I saw it happen in January 2020. So if we go back, you can see that they always move together. The big companies and the small companies have to be catching up. Because you see here, it's almost the same. No one is leading the other. No one is behind. But let's see what happens in January 20. If you're to see, they all move together, up and down, up and down. So January 20 is when it happened. So here in January 2020, we can see that the S&P 500 went up because the big companies are driving it, but this RSP remained straight. So there was something called a divergence. And what happened after? It had a 35% crash. I'm not a doomsday scenario guy, but we cannot ignore these things when we see them. Okay, let's keep going. The next time I saw it was in June 2015 because I was looking for a time. When did they decouple from each other? When did they not act similar? But if we can see here, they keep acting similar. Another one here is very small. In 2018, we can see that the S&P kind of does a straight line here, but the RSP fails and just keeps going down. So that means that while the S&P 500 was going up, the S&P 500 of equal weight, where all the companies have an equal weighting in the movement of the index, it failed. And the reason why I really got suspicious was because I see the index is going up, but when I go to scan for stocks, all of them are crashing. So if we have to go back in 2015, let's see how that happened. Here you can see I looked through all of these charts and they all act normal. 2015, I saw it happen again. So here we have to zoom in a little bit. So when they're equal, that means that they were moving the same. But yeah, here we see the index goes up, but the equal weighted index for the same time goes down. And what happens? It goes for, should I say, a 10% dive. So I don't know how bad the dive might be, but this is something I cannot ignore. And it's making me cautious because when I scan for stocks in other industries, the companies are going down. But when I look at the index, it's acting up. Okay, and the last time I saw it was in 2007. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Maybe I missed some, but let's go to 2007. Let's see. So 2007, around July. Now, of course, I just hope it's not as bad as 2007, but we cannot fail to see this. So October 2007. October. Where is it? Here. So in October 2007, we can see this decoupling happen again. So we can see the orange line is the equal one. So the equal weighted goes straight. So that means it formed a double top. The prices failed to clear above the previous high. But in the S&P 500, it went slightly up. So you see, whenever you see this decoupling where the S&P 500 is not acting equal to the weighted index, that means that the stronger stocks are just driving the index, but actually a lot of the stocks in the index are suffering. In the past, whenever this happened, there was a strong correction that happened. How long did it correct for here? It did a 12% correction. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm not a genie that can predict the future, but when I see some bad signs like this, it's like you haven't caught your partner cheating, but if you start seeing some signs that they're not acting right, then you gotta get suspicious and keep your eyes open. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Also sign up for my free newsletter where I'll be sharing these ideas with you. May the markets be with you.